Welcome back, computer app students. This is Mr. Clement, and we are finishing up with our last Microsoft Word type document we're going to create, and it's something called a resume. And we'll start out with a question, well, what is a resume, and or how is it different from a job application? So let's start out with the job application first. And as we look here at a sample job application, what the employer is trying to do is they're trying to get information about you before they hire you. So part of that is your contact information, name, address, zip code, telephone number, potentially social security number. In case of emergency, a contact person. They are going to want to know when are you available to work. And they're going to want to know some background information, right? Where did you go to school? What kind of education or training do you have? Who were some of your past employers? Right? So that's what a job application is really looking for. Who are you? Tell us about your past history, and are you the right person for our position? Well, a resume is doing the same thing in just a little bit different way. It's a little bit more flexible. You can sell to the company your skill set and what you're good at and what you want them to know, as opposed to a list of questions that they want to know. Now, depending on the type of job, you may have a resume and they may ask you to fill out a job application anyways. But some may just need a job application, some may just be a resume. But we'll take a look at each. So that's your job application. So let's take a look at resume. When we're looking at a Microsoft Word document, we're going to start out with our standard default 0.0 point single spaced. Again, similar to a business letter, we're going to double space between the sections of the ideas. I would go 12-point font and Times New Roman. Can you change it to an Arial or a Cambria? Yes, you can. I just kind of like Times New Roman. That's a font that suits my eye. Again, I don't know that you want to go super duper scripty type of a font, maybe with your name, but that'd be about it. And it'll make a little bit more sense when we look at it. Another idea is you want to keep it to either one whole page or at least a page and a half. You don't want a resume that's like one page and just a little bit of information on the top of a second page. You want to make it clean, easy to see, clean, easy to read. If it looks too tough or jumbled, you're making it difficult on the person who is reading it, whether they even want to call you in for an interview. Someone told me this a long time ago. Your resume or your job application gets you the interview. The interview gets you the job. So you can look like a rock star on paper, but if you don't actually interview well, you may not get the job, right? So that process of, again, the resume gets you the interview, it gets you your foot in the door, lets you put your best foot forward and then sell yourself to the employer saying, hey, here's what I'm good at. Here's why I think I would be the right fit for your company. The interview itself will get you the job. So let's look at a couple of resumes. Here's mine. So as you notice, mine's a 3-page document. I got a lot of stuff on mine. Usually, your contact information is going to be the very first thing they see. So I got my name, I got address, how would they get a hold of me? Cell phone, work number, personal email, school email, but me. Next up for this resume, this was to teach the college and the schools econ and through Southwest State, and the college personal finance course through St. Cloud State. They wanted to know my education background first, right? So here I have undergraduate, graduate education, then I go on to related experience, right? My most recent job is a business teacher. Okay, still there. Bullet point list of some of the things that I have done. Along with being a teacher, I'm also a wrestling coach, so I have some background in what I've done there. I've also been, a football coach. I've done some golf. I was an accountant before I became a teacher, and I have some other professional experience. Now, this is from a Google Doc, and I turned it into a PDF. And right now, as I notice, there's something I don't like. I have professional experience here. I was an auditor for Prudential Life Insurance for a while. I was a wrestling coach. And then under honors, it looks like it's cut off. Now, in theory, this should probably be on its own page. I shouldn't have half of it here and half of it there. That doesn't look good. Okay? And some other information that I have that I would want someone to know. Conversation starter as I'm sitting in an interview. So let's shrink this down. Bunch. So again, mine happens to be a 3-page document. It's not the be-all, end-all. But again, transitioning back here, your contact information is going to be first. And this part here, most important part. What is going to sell you the best to get this job? Is your biggest selling point your past work or volunteer experience? Then that should come up top, right? Contact information, work experience. Is your education and training, is that going to be the thing that's going to sell you, that's going to make the difference in you getting the job? Well, then that should be second. And then work history should be below that, right? So these two here, 2A and 2B, these are interchangeable, right? There's no right or there's no wrong. Which one of these two would sell you the best? Your education, training, or your work history? Whichever one is your best attribute, put that right below your contact information. Everything else is a distant third, right? So back to my resume I used for teaching college classes. They wanted specifically to know my education background first. This, to them, the colleges, was more important than me being a business teacher for 20 years. Right? If I was going to be a financial planner or an accountant, or I was going to go teach at maybe a different school district, I would maybe move my 20 years of teaching experience above my education training, then put the education training, next. Okay? My teaching experience, my education training, far more important than I'm a section rep for Section 6AA in wrestling, right? It's a nice thing to talk about. If the person happens to know something about wrestling, maybe that's a conversation starter, right? My work experience, my education training, my biggest two attributes. Let's look at another one. Here's Mrs. Clem's resume. It's a little older, but same thing, contact information up top. Not identical to mine, which is okay. She's got a summary of her work experience here, a little brief paragraph they can read. Then it talks about her work experience. She was a claims specialist for Aon Benfield. If you know, there is some consistency there, right? So you have title of the job, in her case, bolded and underlined. She's got the name of the company, where it was from. Over here, she's got when she was working there. And then what is she talking about? Bullet points that describe her skill set. Job before that. Senior claims accounting analyst, right? Name of the job. When was she doing the job? What company was the job for? Analytic skills, relationship management skills. Again, bullet points explaining what she's done. Consistency, right? Most recent job, then the one before that, then the one before that. Job title, when she did it, name of the company, skill set. She's got her background. Prior to that, she was a teacher for education and some volunteer activities, right? We come back to mine. Let's find it here. Again, consistency. Name of the job. In bold, where was it? Town, when. Name of the job. Who was it for? Town, when. Name of the job. Who was it for? Where, when. Name of the job. You get the pattern, right? Name of the job. Who was it for? Where, when. Consistency, right? If I shrunk it down a little bit, you'd notice kind of everything looks similar. Every big major heading on the far left-hand side, bullet points indenting it. Okay, all of my dates, if I printed this off and drew a line down it, all of my dates here line up. All of my bullet points here line up. Big major bullet points bolded, all on the same kind of vertical line up and down. All my minor ones, all in that same line up and down. Call it boring, I call it consistency. Right? Same amount of space in between each section to make it nice, clean, and easy to read. That's your idea of a resume. So let's go ahead and stop there with some background. Next video, we'll actually open up a clean new Word document and make a resume.